My name is Chris Stegemann. I'm a product specialist here at DoubleLine Capital. I'm joined by Bill Campbell. Bill, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Bill is a portfolio manager on our global bond and local currency emerging market strategies. And given the very unfortunate events that unfolded over this past weekend in Israel and Hamas, we thought it'd be an opportune time to have Bill on to discuss, while humanitarian aspects of the situation, of course, come first, it does have market implications as well. So Bill, if you don't mind, I'll put you on the spot here. Things are moving and changing by the day, but at least as we discuss this right now, what are you thinking about as it relates to the conflict and potential market implications?
Sure. Well, let me start where you left off. Our thoughts and prayers from all of DoubleLine go out to everyone who was impacted by this conflict, and to people who have experienced any loss of life in their families. Moving to markets, I think the first thing that we need to see play out is, will this be a geopolitical situation that remains contained? Or is this a situation where we're going to start to see escalation beyond just Gaza? So let's start with Gaza itself. Obviously, this was a tremendous security failing out of the security forces in Israel. There was a tremendous loss of life, and we are at the very beginning of what is going to be potentially a long military campaign. What we know about Gaza is it is one of the most densely populated areas on the globe. So in order to conduct any military operation, it's going to be a very difficult, operation, to conduct, because there are lots of civilians that, are packed into a very small area. Looking beyond just the humanitarian issues that are associated with that, the question is, as the Israeli front moves into Gaza, what are the responses going to be, especially across the Middle East? We had started to see some progress between Israel and Saudi Arabia, which clearly that is being put on a back burner. The wild card in all of this is what is going to happen with Iran. Reporting right now seems to suggest that Iran was at least aware, of these attacks, but according, at least as of today, to John Kirby, the United States is not aware that Iran was involved in any planning of the Hamas incursion into Israel. But again, this is a fluid situation. This needs to be monitored very closely, because any direct linkages to Iran will escalate this conflict beyond the current the current geography that we're seeing right now. Once the incursion happens, the question is going to be how long, and what is the end game for Israel in Gaza. We know that, unfortunately, there's at least 100 to 130, if not more, Israeli hostages being held. It is not clear, what the solution will be to, get the return of those hostages. But once the Israeli, incursion happens into Gaza, the question is going to come down to, will they have to occupy the Gaza territory for an extended period of time? Can they get an international force to come in? Right now, it does not seem like that the Middle Eastern peers, the Middle Eastern countries, would be, at least as of right now, willing to get involved. The best solution would be if you could get a coalition of maybe Qatar, the Emirates, to come in and help with stability and peacekeeping force. That would be the best solution, but that remains still unlikely at this point. Looking at Iran's response, let's say that it is true that they were not involved. If we assume that, they could choose to escalate the conflict in several fronts around Israel, that then would escalate the situation beyond the current borders. The first place that we're watching is the northern border with Lebanon. We see activity happening with Hezbollah right now. If that continues, the risk is that we start to see a two-front war. Obviously, the West Bank is going to be another security issue for Israel. The questions around what the response will be there, further complicates, this situation. And, Syria and Yemen remain real wild cards. In Yemen, obviously, there are a lot of Iranian proxy groups, there that, can decide to escalate and, cause more instability in the region. But Syria has been an ongoing, war theater as well. And unfortunately, that's a theater where Russia is involved. We've seen responses across the globe, but so far, President Putin's been relatively quiet. We know that we have a geopolitical, issue that just continues to rage in Ukraine. Now that we see the Middle East, picking back up, I think on a global scale, we look to China as well, and we'll, have to monitor if the Chinese will take advantage of, the chaos that's happening over in Eastern Europe and down to the Middle East, maybe to put a blockade around Taiwan, as they have, stated the long-term goal of trying to reunify Taiwan. All of this for markets means increased geopolitical risk premium. It's too early in this conflict right now to say exactly, what the implications or the opportunities will be, because we have to see if this escalation continues. But, at least right now, I think those are the areas to monitor. The other market area that this directly impacts is the energy markets. Obviously, the oil markets are impacted through what happens with Iran and the linkages, that could happen, or the escalations that could happen, with Iran's either knowledge of or escalation of knowledge of the Hamas attack or escalation of the conflict, but also, we are running the risk on the LNG side or the natural gas side, that we'll see prices increase as Israel is one of the larger natural gas exporters for the globe. They had to recently close the Tamar natural gas field. That supply, was mostly, supplying Europe and Egypt with their natural gas needs. In Europe, we have actually started to see natural gas futures prices starting to rise again, albeit from very low levels, but they are starting to increase. So, the net implications of this conflict, can spread way beyond, the region. So the second, big implication besides rising geopolitical risk is, the risk to inflation. And this would obviously come through the energy channel, but it can also come through the global trade channel. Egypt remains linked not only to Europe and the United States by exporting a lot of high technology equipment as well as energy. They also are linked to China as well. So the implications of shutting an Israeli economy down or slowing it down, will have knock-on implications to the global supply chain and will be net inflationary and will be a net headwind to growth. So the duration of this conflict needs to be monitored very closely because of all of these knock-on implications, both to the global economy, but also to markets.
Yeah, certainly. Well, we appreciate those comments. It's a very complex situation. We hope it comes to a very swift conclusion and safe one, but certainly something that we and others will be monitoring from a market implication standpoint going forward.